Hello, my name is BJ Paris. Welcome to Tapping Into His Treasures. How is everybody today? I hope you're all doing well. I'm doing well. I'll get started here. Our theme today is taking time to look around us, because we're always on the fly today, aren't we? Everybody's on the fly, even young people. We've got schedules. Ta-da. Anyway, the Lord brought this theme to my attention during the week because my landlord planted some flowers and some cucumbers right near the front porch. And usually cucumbers, they grow along the ground, to the best of my knowledge. And what he did was he put some ropes up so that the cucumbers, the leaves and everything would grow upward from the bottom porch to the upstairs porch. And in doing that, I could see them as they grow from eye level, and it's very interesting because I've grown cucumbers before when I lived in Maine years ago, and I never thought about going out and checking them every day or every other day to see the growth because I didn't have that kind of time, and also you would have to get down on the ground to see them. And this way, you don't have to get down on the ground at all. They're at eye level. So every couple of days I go out and I watch the growth, and it is so interesting. I'm telling you, it's unbelievable. I get so excited. And interesting that I thought a couple of interesting things. You just know there has to be a divine design in every vegetable that grows in our gardens. It just doesn't happen, folks. It just doesn't happen. When I saw these little baby cucumbers only this big, and they had all these little prickly things on them, all that I could think of is that maybe God put the prickly things there to keep insects away from eating them so that, a fruit would grow, not being bothered by all those predators. Yes, even little tiny bugs are predators if they're going to eat the fruit. So it was just so interesting to me, and because of that, it made me think of the book of Job in the Bible that Moses wrote. Starting at chapter 38, when God speaks, he really gets a hold of Job and gives him a good talking to, if you will. And I've always loved those chapters, starting 38 to 41. And I would like to read them today because of all the years I've been a Christian, I've mentioned these verses to people before. And a lot of them just were not familiar with the verses at all. And I just think everybody should hear them. So whether you are a Christian or you're not a Christian, I think you will enjoy hearing them read to you. So that's what we're going to concentrate on today. If you can bear with me. Okay. We won't do this every week. It's just that God has put it on my heart, and I'm going to be ministering to myself as well as reading to you guys. Okay, so the Lord answered Job out of a whirlwind and said, "Who is this that darkens counsel by words without knowledge? Gird up now your loins like a man, and I will demand of you, and you declare to me. Where were you when I laid the foundation of the earth? Declare to me if you have and know understanding. Who determined the measures of the earth, if you know?" Question mark, lots of question marks here. Or who stretched the measuring line upon it? My eyes are so bad. Upon what were the foundations of it fastened? Or who laid its cornerstone? See, he's pointing things out because Job apparently didn't take the time to look around him and to observe all these things. And if he did it to Job, he's doing it to all of us through the words written in Job. When the morning stars sang together and all the sons of God shouted for joy, like, where were you? Or who shut up the sea with doors when it broke forth and issued out of the womb? Isn't that very interesting? When I made the clouds the garment of it, and thick darkness is its swaddling band for it. and marked for it my appointed boundary, and sets bars and doors. You know where the boundary is, the sand. When the water hits the sand, that's the boundary. The waters couldn't go any farther because God ordained it. And said, thus far shall you come and no farther, and here shall your proud waves be stayed. Have you commanded the morning since your days began, and caused the dawn to know its place, so that light may get hold of the corners of the earth and shake the wickedness of night out of it? It is changed like clay into which a seal is pressed, and things stand out like a many-colored garment. From the wicked their flight is withheld, and their uplifted arm is broken. Have you explored the springs of the sea, or have you walked in the recesses of the deep? Have the gates of death been revealed to you, or have you seen the doors of deep darkness? Have you comprehended the breadth of the earth? Tell me if you know it all. I guess he told him. Where is the way where light dwells? And as for the darkness, where is its abode? That you may conduct it to its home, and may know the paths to its house. You must know since you were born then, or because you are so extremely old. Have you entered the treasuries of the snow, or have you seen the treasuries of the hail, which I have reserved for the time of trouble, for the day of battle and war? By what way is the light distributed, or the east wind spread over the earth? Who has prepared a channel for the torrents of rain, or a path for the thunderbolt, to cause it to rain on the uninhabited land, on the desert where no man lives, to satisfy the waste and desolate ground, and to cause the tender grass to spring forth, as the rain of Father, or who has begotten the drops of dew, out of whose womb came the ice, and the hoary frost of heaven, who has given it birth? The waters are congealed like stone, and the face of the deep is frozen. Can you bind the chains of the cluster of stars called Pleiades, or loose the cords of the constellation Orion? Can you lead forth the sun? Well, God didn't forget anything in this dialogue, did he? Can you lead forth the signs of the zodiac in their season? Or can you guide the stars of the bear with her young? And that would be the constellation, the bear, okay, with her young cubs. Do you know the ordinances of the heavens? Can you establish their rule upon the earth? Can you lift up your voice to the clouds, so that an abundance of waters may cover you? Can you send lightnings, that they may go and say to you, here we are? Who has put the wisdom in the inward parts, or in the dark clouds? Who has given understanding to the mind, or to the meteor? Who can number the clouds by wisdom, or who can pour out the water bottles of the heavens? When heat has caused the dust to run into a mass, and the clods to cleave fast together, can you, Job, hunt the prey for the lion, or satisfy the appetite of the young lions, when they couch in their dens or lie in wait in their hiding place? Who provides for the raven its prey, when its young ones cry to God and wander about for lack of food? Do you know the time? This is 39 now. Do you know the time when the wild goats of the rock bring forth their young? Or do you observe when the hinds are giving birth? Do you attend to all this, Job? Can you number the months that carry their offspring? Or do you know the time they are delivered? When they bow themselves, bring forth their young ones, and cast out their pains? Their young ones become strong. They grow up in the open field. They go forth and return not to them. Who has sent out the wild donkey, giving him his freedom? Or who has loosed the bands of the swift donkey, by which his tame brother is bound? He, the shy, the swift-footed, and the untamable, whose home I have made the wilderness, and the salt land his dwelling place. He scorns the tumult of the city, and hears not the shoutings of the taskmaster. The range of the mountains is his pasture, and he searches after every green thing. Will the wild ox be willing to serve you or remain beside your manger? Can you bind the wild ox with a harness to the plow in the furrow? Or will he harrow the furrows for you? Will you trust him because his strength is great, or to him will you leave your labor? Will you depend upon him to bring home your seed and gather the grain of your threshing floor? Who, Job, was the author of this strange variance in the disposition of animals so alike in appearance? Was it you? If the wings of the ostrich wave proudly, but are they the pinions and plumage of love? The ostrich leaves her eggs on the ground and warms them in the dust, forgetting that a foot may crush them, or that the wild beast may trample them. She is hardened against her young ones, as though they were not hers. Her labor is in vain, because she has no sense of danger for her unborn brood. For God has deprived her of wisdom, neither has he imparted to her understanding. Yet when she lifts herself up in flight, so swift is she, that she can laugh to scorn the horse and his rider. Have you given the horse his might? Have you clothed his neck with quivering and a shaking mane? Was it you, Job, who made him to leap like a locust? The majesty of his snorting nostrils is terrible. He paused in the valley, pause P-A-W-S. He paused in the valley and exults in his strength. He goes out to meet the weapons of armed men. He mocks at fear and is not dismayed or terrified. Neither does he turn back in battle from the sword. The quiver rattles upon him, as do the glittering spear and the lance of his rider. He seems in running to devour the ground with fierceness and rage, neither can he stand still at the sound of the war trumpet. As often as the trumpet sounds, he says, "Ha ha," and he smells the battle from afar, the thunder of the captains and the shouting. Is it by your wisdom, Job, that the hawk soars and stretches her wings toward the south as winter approaches? Does the eagle mount up at your command and make his nest on a high, inaccessible place? On the cliff he dwells and remains securely upon the point of the rock and the stronghold. From there he spies out the prey, and his eyes see it afar off. His young ones suck up blood, and where the slain are, there he is. Chapter 40. Moreover, the Lord said to Job, shall he who would find fault with the Almighty contend with him? He who disputes with God, let him answer it. Then Job replied to the Lord, behold, I am of small account and vile. What shall I answer you? I lay my hand upon my mouth. I have spoken once, but I will not reply again. Indeed, twice have I answered, but I will proceed no further. Then the Lord answered Job out of the whirlwind, saying, gird up your loins now like a man. I will demand of you, and you answer me. Will you also annul, set aside, and render void my judgment? Will you condemn me, your God, that you may appear righteous and justified? Have you an arm like God, or can you thunder with a voice like his? Since you question the manner of the Almighty's rule, deck yourself now with the excellency and dignity of the supreme ruler, and yourself undertake the government of the world, if you are so wise, and array yourself with honor and majesty. Pour forth the overflowings of your anger, and look on everyone who is proud and abase him. Look on everyone who is proud and bring him low, and tread down the wicked where they stand, if you are so able, Job. Bury and hide them all in the dust together, and shut them up in the prison house of death. If you can do all this, Job, proving yourself of divine might, then will I, God, praise you also, and acknowledge that your own right hand can save you. Behold now the behemoth, the hippopotamus, which I created as I did you. He eats grass like an ox. See now, his strength is in his loins, and his power in the sinews of his belly. He moves his tail like a cedar tree. The tendons of his thighs are twisted together like a rope. His bones are like tubes of bronze. His limbs or ribs are like bars of iron. The hippopotamus is the first in magnitude and power of the works of God in animal life. Only he who made him provides him with his sword-like tusks, for only God who made him can bring near his sword to master him. Isn't this remarkable? Surely the mountains bring him food, where all the wild animals play. He lies under the lotus trees in the covert of the reeds in the marsh. The lotus trees cover him with their shade. The willows of the brook compass him about. Behold, if a river is violent and overflows, he does not tremble. He is confident, though the Jordan River swells and rushes against his mouth. Can any take him when he is on the watch, or pierce through his nose with a snare? Pierce through his nose with a snare, sorry. And lastly, chapter 41. Can you draw out the Leviathan, the crocodile, with a fishhook, or press down his tongue with a cord? Can you put a rope into his nose, or pierce his jaw through with a hook or a spike? Will he make any supplications to you, begging to be spared? Will he speak soft words to you, or to coax you, or treat him kindly? Will he make a covenant with you to take him for your servant forever? Will you play with the crocodile as with a bird? Or will you put him on a leash for your maidens? Will traders bargain over him? Will they divide him up among the merchants? Can you fill his skin with harpoons, or his head with fishing spears? Lay your hand upon him. Remember your battle with him. He will not do such an ill-advised thing again. Behold, the hope of his assailant is disappointed. One is cast down even at the sight of him. No one is so fierce and foolhardy. No one is so fierce and foolhardy, I've never used that word before, that he dares to stir up the crocodile. Who then is he who can stand before me, God, the beast creator, or dares to contend with me? Who has first given to me that I should repay him? Whatever is under the whole heavens is mine, God speaking. Therefore, who can have a claim against God, God who made the unmastered crocodile? I will not keep silence concerning his limbs, nor his mighty strength, nor his goodly frame. Who can strip off the crocodile's outer garment? Who can penetrate his double coat of mail? Who shall come within his jaws? Who can open the doors of his lipless mouth? His extended jaws and bare teeth are terrible round about. His scales are the crocodile's pride, for his back is made of rows of shields, shut up together as with a tight seal. One is so near to another that no air can come between them. They are joined one to another, they stick together, so that they cannot be separated. His sneezings flash forth light, and his eyes are like the reddish eyelids of the dawn. Oh, I love that. Out of the mouth go burning torches, out of his mouth, and sparks of fire leap out. Out of his nostrils go forth smoke, as out of a seething pot over a fire of rushes. His breath kindles coals, and a flame goes forth from his mouth. In the crocodile's neck abides strength, and terror dances before him. The folds of his flesh cleave together. They are firm upon him, and they cannot shake it when he moves. His heart is as firm as a stone, indeed as solid as a nether millstone. When the crocodile raises himself up, the mighty are afraid because of terror. In the crashing they are beside themselves. Even if one strikes at him with the sword, it cannot get any hold, nor does the spear, the dart, or the javelin. He counts iron as straw and bronze as rotten wood. The arrow cannot make the crocodile flee. Sling stones are treated by him as stubble. Clubs also are counted as stubble. He laughs at the rushing and the rattling of the javelin. His underparts are like sharp pieces of broken pottery. He spreads grooves like a threshing sledge upon the mire. He makes the deep boil like a pot. He makes the sea like a foaming pot of ointment. His swift darting makes a shining track behind him. One would think the deep to be hoary with foam. Upon earth there is not the crocodile's equal, a creature made without fear, and he behaves fearlessly. He looks all mighty beasts of prey in the face without terror. He is monarch over all the sons of pride. And now, Job, who are you, who dares not arouse the unmastered crocodile, yet who dares resist me, God speaking, the beast creator, to my face? Everything under the heavens is mine. Therefore, who can have a claim against God? That's the end of the chapter. Oh my gosh. Have you ever heard those things about the crocodile before? And maybe you have read these in the book of Job a long time ago, but maybe you've forgotten them also. I have forgotten a lot, and I was just reminded of a lot myself. So I just thought that these chapters were fascinating, and I hope that you do too. Wow. I'm like spellbound right now after reading. Wow. So God, interestingly, God brought about these 4 chapters, his dialogue with Job, after Job, I forgot the number of the chapter, but it was preceding these chapters I just read to you. In one chapter, Job used the personal pronouns I and me and mine 50 times in one relatively short chapter. And he was building himself up, how great he was. And interestingly, that chapter didn't happen after this, but before this, that chapter. So maybe God had listened to just about all he was going to listen to from this man. Yes, he suffered, and our hearts all go out when we read the story of Job losing his children and all the things he was afflicted with, sores and boils and all those things on his body, and no more respect from the townspeople, da-da-da-da. So yes, our hearts, were hurting when we read the early part of the book. But later on, like the filth that's in all of us human beings, it comes out, and God wanted it to come out so that God could replace it all with all of himself and all that's good and all that's loving. So that's what we read today, and God was proud of what he created. You think about that crocodile, oh my gosh. I always felt like alligators and crocodiles were like the same. I couldn't tell them apart. But when God it's in the Bible, that God calls out the crocodile as the greatest is in the animal kingdom, and he calls out the hippopotamus as the strongest. And well, have you ever gone on the net and looked at information and pictures on the hippopotamus? Wow. There was a video one time, this is getting off the path a little bit, but there was a video one time, and I think it comes back as a memory every year, and I post it. And the hippopotamuses, believe it or not, they go out in the water, and they're under the water sometimes. Maybe not for too long, but they do go under, and then they come up again. Well, there were these guys that in a speedboat, and apparently the whole hippopotamus was under the water when they were near him, and they just kept going with the boat. And all of a sudden, the hippopotamus comes out of the water and back of the speedboat. And these guys, they look terrified, and the guy must have stepped on it, gave it full throttle, and the hippo, it looked like it was only that far away from the boat. And it had to be terrifying. They were probably praying for their lives. And he never did turn the boat over or have a good meal for himself with all those guys. But they were lucky to get away alive. So that's how powerful and strong the hippopotamus is. And just think about how great and how majestic that God is. And when he made the earth and he made the animals and the lion with the roar, oh my gosh, just amazing. So again, I would admonish you moms and grandmoms and grandpas to read these chapters to your grandchildren. Sit them beside you on the couch and give them a piece of the Bible that they have probably never heard of before. That's what I would encourage everybody to do. I have done it with my family too. So let's finish by saying the Lord's Prayer together, especially you precious people out in the nursing homes. I send my love to you today. And as long as I'm sending out shouts, I want to shout out to my new friend Brian, who I met through, what's the name of that, Craigslist. I was giving something away for free, and he came to my house to pick it up. And it was such a nice meeting, and I hope I see him again sometime. Hi, Brian. Come out to my church and visit me sometime. Say hi. Okay. So bow your heads with me, if you will. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen. And I think we have time for just a couple of prayers. Last time I got cut off, I'm sorry. So Father, bless the audience today in all the places of New England and on the computer all over the country. Bless each one, Father. Heal all the everybody afflicted with health issues, COVID for one, heart trouble, cancer, dementia, Alzheimer's, autism, Father. These young people, we think of them today, they're having a hard time during COVID. So heal people mightily, Father, in all parts of the world for your glory, in Jesus' name. So thanks for watching. God bless you and God bless yours. God keep you and God keep yours. Till next time, bye-bye for now.